Hi guys, Mamie here with OneJoyousSkip.com, and today I am making this card in partnership with Not2ShabbyShop.com, and I am featuring the Neat and Tangled stamp set, Kitty's Favorite Things, and it is so cute, and we're going to make a really fun tag today. And so I am going to mask off all the sides of this tag that I have. It's just a cross-stitch die tag. And I just want to mask all the sides off so that I'll have a little bit of a white border on my tag whenever I'm done, because I'm going to be doing some ink blending. And so I'm going to do some Copic coloring first off, and I'm using my Memento Tuxedo black ink to do that. And so I'm just stamping Kitty right here on the tag. I'm using my Nina 80-pound cardstock here. And I'm also going to stamp this little ball of yarn. And this is just the cutest stamp set ever. I just loved how big the kitty is, and he's really good to put by himself if you want to. And so I'm also cutting out and creating that little banner that says practically perfect. And I'll be working on that as well here in a minute. And so I'm going to mask off the kitty and the ball of yarn because, like I said, I'm going to do some ink blending today. And so I'm starting off with the picked raspberry, and I'm going to create a background with that. And I'm using just a cloud that I punched out with one of my Fiskars punches, and just setting that up on the top while I do my ink blending. And that can help you get the appearance of some subtle clouds. And so I'm just kind of going over the bottom of the cloud to give the bottom part of the cloud look, and then you go over the top as well, and that kind of creates just a bit of the illusion of clouds up there, as you can see. And then I also go over the clouds a little bit with the picked raspberry to kind of push them into the background so that they're not so prominent. I also used a piece of masking paper there at the bottom to create the ground. And I used this on another card, and so I'm just using it to do this one as well. And I just freehand cut that mask just with a little wave so that I could ink blend on top and on bottom. And so now I'm using the scattered straw to create the ground area. And so I kind of start with my ink on the mask and then pull it downwards, because you don't want to get like big marks from using your ink blending tool. And to avoid that is to kind of ink it a little bit on the mask first and then pull the color down. It also helps if your blending tool is not brand new. If it has a little bit of color on it already saturated into the sponge, really helps to even out the color. And now I'm also using my favorite color, Peacock Feathers, and I am just going to go over that practically perfect banner. And I'm going to go around the outsides of it as well. Okay, and I think that I have all of my ink blending done, so now we can move on to the reveal. And I just love this part. And now I'm going to start my Copic coloring. And I'm using my gray families and a couple of my C families only because my N family has a couple of dry markers, and so I'm just substituting the C since they are really close. So I just colored the whole kitty with the C00, and now I'm going in with the shading with the N6. And that's going to be my darkest color, and I'm just only going in some small areas where the shadows would be the darkest, like underneath something. Areas that are furthest away from your light source. And so I jumped over to the N4, and I'm just carrying out that shading a little bit more and then adding it to some other little areas that would have shading but not as much shading. And this coloring is a good example of the degrees of shading. And so that was something that I didn't really know in the very beginning when I first started Copic coloring, and I think it's very important to know the degrees of shading. And so where you would put your darkest shading and then the places that you would put lighter shading, all of that is important. I used to just put shading all the shading in certain areas and use all the colors. But now I realize that you only need the darkest shading in some parts, and then you can progress up your shading wherever you need it. And so as you can see here, I am still creating shading, except that it's not all with my darkest color and then moving into the lightest. So that's something I urge you to practice, is your degrees of shading. I don't know if that's what it's called, but that's just what I call it, because it seems to fit what you do whenever you're trying to figure out how dark certain areas need to be versus how light they need to be. And so now I just go over my whole image with the C00 to blend everything together. And I think Kitty is looking really cute. And so now I just use my RV000, and that's just to fill in his belly and his ears a little bit. I want this to be a lighter card. I didn't want to have too dark of colors, so I'm trying to stick to my lighter markers. And I'm putting a little bit of RV11 on his cheeks there, and then just going over that with the gray as well, just to kind of blend it in a little bit better. And I'm filling in his little nose with the N6 as well. And lastly, here with the coloring, I am doing the ball of yarn, and I'm doing that with my purples, and that is the V family. And I'm just doing some quick shading. Obviously the darkest shading is on the inside where the yarn would be towards the inside of the ball, and then lightening it up around the outside. And now revealing the frame around the tag. I think that looks so cute. And so now I'm outlining the outside of the kitty to give him a little bit more dimension, have him kind of stand out a little bit from the background. And I'm also going to put a little bit of a shadow underneath him, starting with my darkest color, where I just put some of my darkest shading right under the feet and right under the yarn, and then you just work your way lighter and pull out that shadow a little bit more. And finally with my C00, I am pulling out that shadow a lot, and I'm also blending out the shadow that I already have just to kind of help it not be so saturated in one area. And here I'm just can't leave well enough alone, and I just keep touching it and touching it. Like I call my husband Touchy McTutcherson whenever he's on the grill and he can't leave the meat alone. I just have to keep on and keep on, and sometimes I keep going until I've totally messed up my card. So know when to stop. Step away if you have to. And I'm also using my white pigment pen here just to put a little bit of shine on his little nose. And I'm taking one of my Copic markers that actually goes really well with the peacock feathers, Distress ink, and I'm putting in some shading where the banner would go inwards. And where it would go inwards, it would be darker, and then where it kind of pops outwards, it'll be lighter. And as you can see, it kind of gives it a little bit of movement, which is fantastic. And to give it a little bit more movement, I'll show you what I do with that too. But for right now, I'm going to cut open his little body here so I can put the banner in between his hands. And I've already done this voiceover a couple of times, and then I posted it and the voiceover disappeared. And it was actually a pretty decent voiceover. And now here I am like a week later having to do the voiceover again. And it's kind of hard after you've already done the voiceover and then you forgot what you did and then you have to do the voiceover again. But that's the way it works sometimes. And now I'm just taking my Copic multi-liner and going around his little hands here where I had cut so that it will bring that black line back into his hands whenever they're over the little banner. So like I said, I'm going to give a little bit more movement here to the banner. And so I'm taking a pencil. Well, after I do this, I'm going to outline real quick the banner as well. But I'm going to take a pencil and I'm going to run it along, roll it along the banner on the parts that pop out and the parts that stick in. Right here. See, the parts that stick in, I put my pencil in towards it, and then the parts that stick out. And now I'm like trying to figure it out. I'm like, okay, in, out. And so now you see I have a cute little true dimension. Instead of just being colored, I have actual dimension as well, which is another way that you can add more character to your card. And now I'm going to be gluing some stuff together here with my Tombow Mono Multi adhesive. I'm going to pop up the banner, and that also gives it extra dimension. So we're all about the dimension on this banner here. And while I'm stalling here for a minute, I just want to let you guys know to please check out the other videos in my love series that I have put together this year for 2017. And most of them are in partnership with Not2ShabbyShop.com. So make sure you visit their store and use my discount code JOY10 and you can get an additional 10% off of your order. Jamie is a fantastic gal and she's so sweet. So make sure that you stop by. And now I'm using my VersaFine to stamp the little sentiment, "You are." And so yes, you can pick up this stamp set, Kitty's Favorite Things by Neat and Tangled, over at Jamie's store at Not2ShabbyShop.com. So now I'm going to be creating a gift card holder as well as a tag. So that's like double the fun here. So I just cut a slit and I'm putting some glue around the edge of the tag and I'm just going to lay that on the back of the original tag. And voila, we have a gift card holder as well. So that's super easy to do. And you can always put a little note in there as well. It doesn't have to be a gift card. So like since this isn't a card, but you still want to include a nice little note, you can put a little sweet envelope back there or whatever you want. And just send it to them like that. And now I'm just going to put a little bit of twine here through the hole. I wanted to do something more extravagant, something more cute with ribbon and all kinds of stuff. And my video was already long enough as it was, so I just had to settle for this. And it's cute, you know, I didn't want to go over the top anyway, but yeah, so now I'm going to take the Zig Wink of Stella brush glitter pen here and just go over the banner. And my card is pretty much done. And here you go, you put your little gift card in the back. And that's how it works. So I thank you guys so much for stopping by and joining me. I really had a great time working on all of these projects for Not Too Shabby Shop this month. And I'm going to finish my card off with some crystal sequins here. And that's going to wrap it up for me, guys. Okay, have a good day. Thanks for stopping by.